Hey guys, it's Rebecca Tabbert from Fit Body Bootcamp Redlands and Fit Body Bootcamp Calamasa, and I am shooting this video today with you from the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego so that I can share with you hopefully some inspiration as I have been inspired today. So I'm here with our Fit Body Bootcamp Mastermind. It's just a smaller group of owners that are super passionate about helping other people, and what I was reminded of today is that I haven't told you my story in a long time. And my story, I think, is just grounds me in who I am and why I'm so passionate about helping you and helping others just like you lose the extra weight, but also just build their confidence from the inside out so that they can live a fuller, more abundant life. The side effect of that becomes that you fit into those jeans and that you get comfortable at the beach and the swimming pool and you have the energy to run around the kids. But I thought it would be a good idea for me to share with you, for those of you that don't know, why it is that it is so important to me to help you and others just like you truly achieve your best life yet with health and fitness as the foundation. About 14 years ago now, I do everything by my son's age. If you have kids, you probably relate to that. My son is 16 now. When he was 2, I finally hit my rock bottom. See, when I was pregnant with my son, I started to use food as an excuse and as a coping device to deal with issues in my life that I just wasn't otherwise dealing with, and nothing else was an obvious or an okay way to deal. Obviously, you're not going to, well, most sane people aren't going to start doing drugs or drinking or what have you when they're pregnant, but it is really easy to fall into this trap of eating because it's food, it's otherwise healthy for you as long as you're making the right choices. You're pregnant, you're eating for 2, so that's kind of your excuse. But I ended up at 5'1", over 62, 65 pounds, my original weight. My son was born 4 weeks early and 8 pounds, 10 ounces. So 8 pounds and 10 ounces was definitely not the 64 some odd pounds that I had gained. And reality is I was threatened with needles because I had put myself in a pre-diabetic condition, and I was so afraid of having to take the shots. That finally started to wake me up a little bit to where I actually lost a couple pounds before I actually gave birth. Now, this is the thing. When you are struggling like that and you start using food as a coping device, I can tell you now today, now over a decade later of battling with it myself, learning how to overcome it and how to create victory in my life, and now helping hundreds of clients over the last several years do the same. I will tell you, hands down, food addiction is the hardest thing to get over. But if I have done it, you can do it too. So long story short, to encourage you and inspire you, what I did to make a difference in my own life is I found the strength within me to, one, recognize that I was worth more than where I was at. On the outside, everything looked pretty well put together. By the time my son was 2, I was a single mom, and I was in a successful job in corporate America. So it looked like with a lot of responsibility. So on the outside, it looked like everything was put together, but I was still carrying on a lot of that extra weight because I was dealing with the stress of life and issues, or not dealing with it, I should say, by binging at night. By the time my son, we all, as a mom, we do what we have to, we keep it all together, and then he'd go to bed and I would just eat foods that were in abundance. Even after I tried getting healthy, quote unquote, and cleaned my house, well, it's not healthy if you're eating an entire box of what I thought at the time was healthy cereal for my son, right? So it was a really poor stage of my life, but when I finally hit my rock bottom, I realized that I was missing out on my son's life for many aspects of it. From the time he was a baby till about 2 years old, you won't find very many pictures of me with my son because I was always glad to be the one taking the picture. I hated being in pictures because I hated what I saw. I was a pretty confident woman on the outside, but on the inside, I knew that I had so much more in me. I knew what was happening. I knew what I was doing to cope with things or not cope with them, which was indulging or overindulging in foods. I knew that I was intimidated and insecure about going to the beach. I knew that I was wearing clothes to hide my body. I joked the other day with our boot campers, or a couple months back, that back then, you know, overalls were in and they were cute, and so I hid behind the overalls at the time, and they're like, oh, they're back in, you should try them again. But I can't, because to me, overalls at that point in time, it has a very poor association. I was using them to hide my body and to hide behind all the weight I had gained and the insecurities that I had. I realized that I was not as energetic with my son. I was a good mom, but I finally hit my bottom and realized that I was spending too much time being upset, worried, using food as a coping device, hiding behind cameras, hiding behind or hiding from activities, really kind of missing out on even some of the parties that we had gotten invited to, because I didn't want to go through having to shop. Like, shopping was the worst for me, because that was the reality, right? That means you have to go get that size, and you don't want to go that size. It's much easier just to slip in those overalls that won't really tell you what's going on, right? And when I first hit my rock bottom, it was really hard for me to find what worked and what didn't work. So I did a lot of failing and a lot of succeeding and failing and succeeding and failing. I did a lot of yo-yoing. I have been there, done that through every diet system, workout program. You know, over a decade ago, that was right when high-intensity interval training was just starting to be researched. So I actually started out with an hour at the gym when I finally decided enough was enough, and to try and get to the gym, that was the hardest thing, right? I felt guilty as a mom leaving my son, but then I also felt really uncomfortable going in, because I felt like everybody was going to be staring at me. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like they'd see parts of my body moving that I didn't want them to see moving. I didn't want to feel them moving, let alone did I want someone else to be able to see them moving, right? So I had to overcome all of that just to get there. And then I've spent the next few years figuring out how to get it done right, how critical nutrition is. Nutrition is 80% of it. Realizing that all those fad diets and all that crap out there that wants to tell you, hey, lose 10 pounds in 4 days, even if that does happen for you, you're using methods that are so bad for your body, it sets you up for future failure, so that you end up worse off than when you started. So all of that comes together in that, yes, I was in a super successful career in corporate America for a good decade after I originally hit my rock bottom. And then about 6 years ago now, I took a huge leap in faith, because I am so passionate about helping other people, especially women, understand that yes, it is totally possible for you to get into the best shape of your life, no matter how long you've been gone, no matter what you've been through, no matter what you feel like, no matter how many times you think you have failed. It is possible for you to get control. You are absolutely worthy of having that kind of control and abundance in your life, and you absolutely at any age can look and feel your best. And that is why I'm so passionate about what we do through our Fit Body Bootcamp Redlands and Calamasa. So I want you to know that it is a life journey, but it will only begin, the best step forward will only begin once you get started. So I encourage you to reach out to us today and let us help you by getting you started in one of our Fit Body Bootcamp programs. See you soon. Bye.